Life be like a podcast, we gon' talk about it, yeah, we get it poppin'. Every Wednesday, PM Central, we are the only options. Who they touch with their topics, even if it is toxic. Life be like a podcast, we gon' be here just to talk about it. We gon' talk about it. We gon' talk about it. Life be like a podcast, we gon' be here. Life be like a podcast, we gon' be here.
Welcome back to another edition of the Life Be Life and podcast. Back up on the scene, nah, I mean. I'm your host, Tony D.
And I'm your host, D to the J. Still in the building. And you see it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's happening, bro?
What's up, my boy? How you doing, man?
You know what? It turned around, man. Today was a day. Today was a day, man. They almost got that Freddy. You know what I'm saying? That tattoo almost came off and came to life, man. But you know, he turned it around for me. He turned it around, bro. So I can't complain, man. Everything is gravy, man. What's your week been like, man? Because you've been in the cut. Lifers don't know. Lifers don't know. I don't know what it is. You've been moving and grooving. He working on a master plan. Y'all don't know. What you got brewing, Ray?
Man, check it out. Let me get 30 seconds to talk to my Eagles, man. Hey, yo, y'all better get this together. Play calling, defense, because football season is rolling on with you or without you. I'm just saying. Hey, don't let me have to show up. But other than that, man, it's been what it's been, yo. You know what I'm saying? Just chilling. Hey, I had to wear it today because, you know, I am not a fair weather fan. Win, lose, or draw.
Yeah.
Still go Birds. But
yeah, I feel that. Listen here, man.
Been cheesing.
These Colts are going to make me a badminton fan. Man, look here. Look here. If I got to jump on 70, get off on Holt Road, go down the Post Road, bust that right on 10th, and come see y'all personally, man, listen, y'all think y'all getting beat on that field. Get it together, man. Y'all got me the laughing stock. Come on, man. Anyway.
Yeah, big thanks.
We got a show. I don't want to take up too much time. Hey, we ain't even going to do Cuckoo's Great Adventures today because we got so much in this topic that we got to get to the people, bro.
Okay, let's get to it then.
All right. Do me a favor. Drop that disclosure for the one time.
Views and opinions expressed on the Life Be Life and podcast are solely those of the artists, producers, guests, and hosts of the show. Any numbers, stats, or stated resources that are given, we do ask that you verify that information for yourself.
All right, Brody.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and run this first. Let's run this first, and then we'll dive in. You ready?
I'm ready. Oh, before you hit that, I want all the lifers to really trip off of this. So to put this in text, I'm gonna put something in text real quick. What you're getting ready to hear is a clip that absolutely blew me away. This is now what they're pushing for science and medicinal purposes, psychedelic drugs. And we can feel the way, we can say whatever. Listen, this ain't even a conversation about right, wrong, or indifferent. This is a conversation about awareness and the sheer fact that for all these years, psychedelics, specifically things like mushrooms, was always a no-go. And now you have these high-end scientists and professors and doctors saying, you know what? It unlocks a piece of the brain that healing is able to operate in, all these different things, right? And so now they're adding it as a different form of therapy, you know what I'm saying, and different mental and so now that we got that, roll the tape.
In the 1950s and 60s, psychologists and psychiatrists began researching the impact of psychedelics on mental and substance use disorders. Dr. Alan Davis, clinical psychologist at Ohio State's Center for Psychedelic Drug Research and Education.
And all of those studies were showing that there was a potential medical benefit to these medicines.
But as research continued, psychedelics made their way into the mainstream, became popular party drugs, and were quickly associated with counterculture.
America's public enemy number one in the United States is drug abuse.
President Richard Nixon signed the Controlled Substances Act of 1970, listing psychedelics like MDMA and psilocybin as Schedule I drugs, meaning they have no accepted medical use. Doctors like psychiatrist Brian Barnett are working to change that.
When I was a kid, I remember people talking about risks of, jumping out windows if you.
In the 1950s and 60s, psychologists and psychiatrists began researching the impact.
So, just to be mindful of time, I just really wanted to give y'all that. Y'all actually are hearing they specify psychedelic drugs that once were put off as Schedule 1 with no medicinal value, and they're saying that was wrong from jump. Nixon played everybody. You also heard them say the war on drugs. You also heard them in that clip mention that ideally the drug epidemic is just that in the United States. So it made me be like, you know what? There is a problem. And me being me and being nosy, shout out to all y'all lying teachers back in the day, inquisitive. So look, what I found out, man, when it came down to this whole drug thing was really, really crazy. And so the off the rip, the United States government blames China for the drug problem, right? And since kids, there was always this back and forth, this beef, US, China. Didn't matter what it was. People could say, hey, the cheese that we buy now ain't real cheese, it don't melt. Somebody gonna say, that's China's fault. Like it's and vice versa. But this is what I found very interesting in this whole, the US blames China. The reason for that is China is provider of 90% of the fentanyl that is coming across seas into the American imports, right? China sends its precursor chemicals that are therefore processed and manufactured into synthetic opioids by the Mexican drug cartels. And then those Mexican drug cartels smuggle them into the United States. And ideally, what the government is saying is, though China's not smuggling them in, because 90% of fentanyl comes from them, they are indirectly responsible. A gentleman named Kemp Chester, who is ideally the associate director of the United States War on Opioid, and it's a long title, but he rocks with that. He said, let it be clear that there's no doubt that all this is China's doing. So hearing all these convictions, and I'm just like, why would China like have that kind of smoke, right? China off the rip said, yo, don't blame us, blame y'all weak laws and the culture of drug glorification. So I was like, dang, that's kind of like a low blow. Like, it really is smoke. But I found out it's deeper. This is the kick, and I'm gonna kind of take this on. What was causing the two biggest economies to come to this beef, bro? It ended up leading this opioid thing. It led the U.S. military going after the Mexican cartels just to stop the drug smuggling. In 2022, 107,000 U.S. citizens had died due to overdose, with 70% of those that overdosed being directly due to fentanyl. This is per CDC, y'all, so this is real stats. Okay. The crazy thing about that is it was stating that between 18 to 45 years old, this was the leading cause of death, right? 107,000 people died. In 2018, 45% of them were hooked based off of illegal prescription drugs. So the United States is like, yes, we do have a problem. And I said, was there a form of, did we weaponize the drug? Here's the smoke. Former President Trump and China President Yao Yang in 2018, they engaged in such a smoke that there was a trade war. So this is where we said, you know what? We ain't sending nothing your way. Bump that. We ain't sending nothing your way. Trump had that smoke with him and it caused some beef. Because of this, China increases the tax breaks that were at that point in time really beneficial to the United States. To add to that, Nancy Pelosi, even though she was told not to by China, decides in 2022 she gonna pop up on Taiwan. So again, this caused all this particular beef, but China still got a reason, and this is what's crazy. Their opioid war, and you've heard of a whole lot of wars in your lifetime. America has. Have you ever heard of the opium war, bro?
So I'm gonna be real frank about this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that it didn't become a war or epidemic until it started hitting a certain class of people. Then all of a sudden, oh, there's this issue for drunk street.
Crack had been rocking up the neighborhood. And you're right, because in Missouri alone, it wasn't until the governor, his son or family member, I'm saying son, I could be wrong, I apologize, ended up getting addicted and overdose on opioids. And then that's when the law changed. Now you started seeing Narcans. But hold up though. But the war on opioids was well before this. And this is what I'm asking. Have you ever heard of the opioid war?
Not necessarily to that facet. I do know and understand that the U.S. was trying to kill plants in other countries that, where the flower that the actual, the drug comes from.
Check it out though. That ain't it either though. Peep this. So the same way you have like World War I, II, III, and it's in our history books, bro, ham. I'm telling you that the opioid war, and it wasn't even just one, it was more than one. In actuality, and again, y'all are more than free to do the research. You more than free to do that. But the first opioid war was between 1839 and 1842. The opioid wars was popping to the point that former ambassador for the United States said that the opium war started a century of humiliation for China that did not even end until 1949. So this goes back to 1839 to 1842, first opioid war. That's China versus Great Britain. The second opium war that's in our history books that we ain't learned about, 1856 to 1860. It was also called the Arrow War or Anglo-French War. It was Great Britain and France versus China. Them chumps jumped China, right? This is what was so crazy. They was in love with China at one point because they had all the green teas and the silks. They was exchanging, Great Britain in particular, all their little jewels and everything. But guess what? They started to run low. So when they ran low, they hollered at the Indian colony, said, yo, y'all make them opioids y'all be doing for us because we know they just a little addicted. They took the opioids. Then they took the opioids and sold them to China. China, nobody knew about this. And even though the knowledge wasn't there that they gonna get strung out, the knowledge was there that we're giving them something addictive to shift economical power back in our hands, right? So Great Britain and France jumped China in the second opium war, then start to sell everything back to them. China, on the flip side, has 45% of their, I'm sorry, they had 25% of their male population hooked on opioids. So if everybody's hooked, bro, you can't work. Everybody doped out. You can't raise an army because everybody's doped out. So ideally, what Great Britain, France, and US, because we was a part of that import-export, is we weaken them so tough that they couldn't protect their country and they could not provide any income for their homes. It got so bad that the dictators in China had to kill dealers. If you got caught dealing, we killing you. If you from another country and you selling in, you better stop or you're going to get punished under Chinese law. If you're addicted, we got some help. We going to get you. You're going to stay there and get the help. If you don't, you're going to jail. And after so many years and years and years, drug-free eradicated. I say all that to bring to where we are now. These opioids, in particular, fentanyl, and you think about how destructive it is. And at some point, greed has superseded humanity and the value of life, because even doctors are saying one baby hair size of fentanyl can kill you. And it's only to be used in situations where morphine ain't even no good, bro. And the example that this doctor gave was if you've been hit by a train. And this is what indeed we were a part of selling China. Now, I ain't saying this right, and I ain't saying this wrong. But for 100 years, you had them stuck. And now they just selling it back. So the reason why 90% of the opioids coming from China is because 100% of the opioids they ever had came from us. So now that we're talking about drugs and how it's impactful in the United States, bro, what I want to talk about is some very key things and very key topics. I almost feel like, what time is it, Brody? 8:17, man. What you feeling like? What we got queued up?
Keep it pushing.
Bet. So it used to be a time when marijuana was almost taboo. You know, you had drugs that you partied with in the 60s. You've seen it in the movies in the 70s. You've seen it in the movies where cocaine and people was partying in group. We got all that. You know, Bill Cosby, that's why they got down back then. Whatever. So hey, that's what the DA said. I'm just DJ, but that's what the DA said. Anyway, we've always had talks with our kids, man, when it came to, I want you smoking, I want you doing this. And even we talked about weed. You would talk to your kids about, don't be out there smoking weed. With fentanyl being such a danger and so common in things, and we don't know it till it's too late. When does the drug talk really happen, bro? When do you feel like the drug talk should happen? And again, I ain't even talking about just weed. I mean, like drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like the one hit quitters.
Yeah. So with the music culture nowadays that glorifies it a lot. You said something a couple of shows ago, man. Is that you got to teach kids where they are.
Yeah.
And I believe that it's always going to be a gradual conversation, kind of like that you would have, if you had firearms in the house. This is a gradual conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe that as kids start to explore the world, start to get outside of your home, even in your home, because you may go other places, to the grocery store, things of that nature. You have to arm your kids with knowledge, like, yo, if it ain't yours, don't touch it, because you know how babies are. You know what I'm saying? As they are exploring rather the atmosphere, the environment, they explore with their eyes, their hands, and their mouths.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that they get, especially if it's something they don't know what it is, you watch a child pick up a piece of plastic. It goes in their hands. Then if you don't catch it, it's going in their mouth. This is how they explore.
Yeah.
And you got to get that fish hook up in there. So as your child
grows,
grows,
baby quick to throw something. That's why I be calling my wife baby a lot.
yeah. So as children grow, you know what I'm saying, the curiosity grows. And again, that goes for anything, whether it's firearms, sex, you know, whatever. But once your child starts to get into that 5th, 6th grade, you know what I'm saying, era to where they maybe participating in after school activities, they start sleeping maybe over a friend's house. You got to start to strongly have that conversation. Now, let's check ourselves at the door. There's a way to have that conversation because, again, parents have a do as I say, not as I do type of mentality. So the thing is that if you are allowing your child to see you partake of certain things at a certain age, and they see the things that happen to you, depending on how you were feeling, what your aim was it recreational, or you were addict, things of that nature, kids can pick up on that. But I believe that you got to start having these conversations early with the gummies. There's been news reports on kids bringing gummy bears to school.
Yeah, thinking
but they were laced.
Yeah, and passed them out.
Saying?
If I remember that story correctly, was actually passing them out amongst his friends.
Yeah, you know, so kids had to go, you know what I'm saying, get their stomach pumped because they had ingested, you know, these gummies. And another thing, if you have little ones and you are partaking yourself, I ain't here to judge nobody. You know what I'm saying? You go do what you go do. Put your stuff away. Put it up. You know what I'm saying? Lock it up. Safeguard your child because, unfortunately, just like gun violence, where kids are finding guns that are unsecured and accidentally either harming themselves or harming a sibling or a family member, the same thing is happening, you know what I'm saying, with drugs. Kids are finding gummies. Kids are finding fentanyl. You know, and that, like you said, man, it could just be a hairline. You know, babies, man, their eyesight is very keen. They can pick a needle out of the carpet that you've been looking for 4 hours. So you got to have this conversation, man. You got to protect your child, and you have to protect them effectively, man. So, yeah, you got to start rapping with them, man, regardless on what they may see uncle do, regardless of what they may see auntie or sister or brother or whomever do. You got to have that conversation with them because we got to be careful not to give them too much information to where they're looking for it because, again, the music is glorifying it. But we also have to give them dangers, you know what I'm saying, that reside behind that.
So, you know, you had said something and you was just saying, you know, you got to protect them, and it made me think, you know, you're going to protect them in the same manner that you would from a firearm. You know, like you said, lock it up, put it away. And even in the sense, not even saying from little kids, man. So I recently seen something, and these were young adults that were just on the edge, wild and reckless, do what they do. And there was an older parent in the home, and this older parent was on hospice. Okay, well, I'm sorry, she wasn't on hospice. If we didn't see improvements, that was going to be the next steps they were giving her. And this particular doctor had prescribed her, I forget the exact terminology, but ideally it was the at ease, a last treatment cocktail, if you can kind of take that. So 3 particular pills, and when taken together, you're terminated. 2 children, young adults, I'm sorry, in the home had drug problems, and their drug of choice was whatever prescription pills they came across. So they would, if they visited your house, you know what I'm saying, and let's say you just had, you know, a back surgery, you on, I don't know, prednisone or whatever the case, they're going to go into your cabinet, take a pill or two, pop them. They called it pill roulette.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing about it, when they went in Granny's, one of them pills that they thought they was copping on the low was one of them cocktails. So I said that to segue into this. You know, we talked about when does the drug talk happen, and I fully believe that it should happen when they're young. And yes, we talk about things being digestible to a child's palate and making it suitable for their palate, but at the same token, we can't miss certain information. Example, we don't talk to our kids about all the things that a stove can make, but we talk to them about the fact that the stove is dangerous and can burn.
Yeah.
So I don't have to go into the specifics of, well, this drug, and I'm laughing just because I'm ignorant, but this drug will make you get blood. This drug gonna have you sleep. This drug gonna have you up all night. This drug gonna have you doing the running. Like, I don't have to go through all the what this drug gonna do.
This drug gonna have you eating all the cookies.
You hear me? You know what I'm saying? If you want to run through a fence face first, take this one. I don't got to do that.
Yeah.
But I do feel like you do need to have these particular talks because not touching things that don't belong to you.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you know what I'm saying, in the 80s, you went on trick or treat and it got to the point that it was being pushed, don't even eat candy without having your parents inspect it first, because people were so wicked then, they was putting razor blades in the joints, razor blades,
the needles.
Yeah, the candy apple and doing all this wild wicked stuff. So we learned then, and unfortunately, I really don't understand how it happened, but unfortunately, the same generation that grew up knowing, we were seeing people put razor blades. We were seeing people put anthrax on envelopes in front of the post office or the bank. You get that joint, lick it to seal it, and you know what I'm saying, you got the permanent robot because you done got hit with the anthrax. So you have to talk to your kids, man, just about what you consume. Don't let your greed cost you something that's valuable, such as your life.
Yeah.
So that being the case, then I had to ask myself this. So we understand that there's a major issue with opioids. Um, uh, there's different chemicals and things that are coming across, fentanyl in particular. We understand all of this. We know we got to have a talk with the kids. We got to have it early. How do we have a talk with the kids, bro, without it seeming like we're encouraging or even saying we cool if that's what you do? I'm almost like a, you know, I want you to be safe. You know, if you're gonna do it here. How do you have that talk with your child without giving that appearance of I'm all for it?
Well, we know our kids, man. They get into some wild stuff. They get exposed to way more situations and matters than that we had to face. You know what I'm saying, at their age. I think that it's very important that we assess the child, because you may have a young adult that decides that they want to do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. I feel like that the child is going to do it with you. They're going to do it without you.
Yeah.
I really feel like so when I was brought up, I didn't have anybody to have the talks with me. I had to experiment with a few things. It's like, yep, I'm not touching that no more. I'm not touching that no more. But this right here, I had to learn. And then even still, after learning, there are times where you're trying to achieve that initial feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And this going to be bars right here, y'all. We're going to break. But we have to be careful allowing our children to just go crazy. Just because, you know what I'm saying, you're like, okay, if you go do it, you do it here, build up your tolerance, whatever the case may be, there's still a limit that has to be set as a parent. Is the child old enough to buy it on their own? You know what I'm saying? Little things like that, because you have to realize as a parent, if you get caught contributing to the delinquency of a minor, you can lose your license.
Yeah.
And there's jail time.
Yeah.
So let me just put that out there first of all. How they my child, and I'm gonna keep it a buck. They're my child. Yeah, you want to see them safe, and you're like, okay. It even goes as we take a step back from drugs. Look at the vape pens. I mean, there are literally young men and women standing outside of Quick Trip, liquor stores, gas stations, AOGOG, buy me this vape, keep the change. You know what I'm saying? They hand you a 20, the vape is maybe 10, but you're contributing. Would you want somebody else to do that to your child? The answer is no. So don't do it for another child. But
Yeah.
back on subject, we feel like that if a child is doing it in the safety of our home, that they should be safe with what they do. But realize from the first time that you get high, regardless on if you got high, got drunk, put something in your arm, put something in your nose, whatever the case may be, for the rest of your life, you're going to be chasing that feeling again, which is going to cause you to do more, which when you can't find it from the person that you normally get it from, it can cause you to deviate and start dealing with people that you don't necessarily deal with who are not trying to have repeat customers. Understand this right here, y'all.
Yeah.
They're not trying to have repeat customers. They just out to make this quick dollar.
Quick money and they gone.
You
So
feel me?
what they hitting you with and it's a very messed up mindset. But I can honestly say there was a point in my life in right hand of God when there was things that were being dealt like they was the real deal, but they wasn't. Because my mindset was for the real to be dealt, you got to deal with people that you don't want to deal with. They
Yeah.
scared you gonna rob them. You scared they gonna rob you. Everybody's on 10, and there's really nothing of value that can come out of it.
Yeah.
You don't know the amount of repenting you have to do before God when you selling people boric acid. And when somebody says to you, don't you know that can kill them? And your response is, but ain't the cocaine or crack gonna do it anyway? So I say that to say, lifers, sometimes people can be at a point in their life to where they just ain't seeing the value of not only their life and for sure not yours. And if they back is against the wall and money is the remedy, um, that old song, what you would do for love, you'll try anything, but you won't give up. Apply that to
Right.
your back is against the wall, it's gonna get wicked. Um,
Yes, sir.
Now I will say, because how I was raised in um the things that I just didn't see, my mom, she was not a drinker. I think the most I had ever seen her drink up until being, a later adult within these last 5 years was like I can't even say I seen her drink it. It was just in the crib, them Barnles and James. Remember them joints? Yeah,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
back in the 80s. I think I seen one of them, and then she used to have something to make the little hot toddies with when we got
Little
sick.
4-pack.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she had the joints for the hot toddy. So mom wasn't a drinker. My other dad that was in the crib, he wasn't a drinker. He wasn't a smoker. My mama wasn't a smoker. My dad wasn't a drinker. Um, my dad was a smoker, cigarettes, but it just wasn't around. And so for me, there was always just a distance and a gap between what a kid says and does in front of the parent. Like being as grown as I am, and my kid and my parents know that, I still don't cuss in front of them. You know what I'm saying? Like I just it's just weird to me because I was always raised that even though now I'm grown, like that's an adult. So even drinking or it's just weird. So um it's not something that I tolerate in my house for my kids, even the ones that are like 18, 19 now. But that again, that's just because I was raised. Bro, let's go to break real quick before I jump into something else. I want to kind of get your ideas on, and I like where we about to go, bro. I'm with it. I'm with
Let's
it.
go.
Hopefully the life is vibing. Hopefully y'all feeling this. Look, we talking about the war on drugs. Our kids is fighting fentanyl. Fentanyl is fighting them. Early in the show is a recap. And keep in mind, y'all can always go back and watch this. But we talked about the opioid, how it got into the U.S., how we blaming China, how China got played, and we sold them through Great Britain that link up all the opioids from jump and got their whole country addicted to the point that they had to start killing and jailing just to get their country back on track economic wise, and it caused what they deemed 100 years of humiliation. So now that the drugs are being sold back into the U.S. and people that are of stature is starting to impact their cribs, because keep in mind when it was crack, hey, people was knocking in.
Nobody looked back.
Nobody was worried, fam. Hey, when it was crack, they wasn't looking back. You know what I'm saying? Hey, they was using that ram on your front door 3 a.m, pulling everybody out. It could be the dead of winter. It didn't matter. Line them up in the street. Wrong house. Oops, my bad. Fix that on your own. It was so sick when it was crack. You understand? But now that it is something different and it's impacting different, now you know what? It's to the point to where they say folks used to be scared to make that phone call because, oh, it's drug paraphernalia. People, we're hot. They're going to lock us up. When the opioids hit, they say, you know what? Don't worry about that. If somebody's at risk of an overdose and you call, you ain't got to worry about nothing. Oh, by the way, show up at the police station, the firehouse, wherever, get you a free Narcan. So if anybody around y'all overdose, you in there. Meanwhile, we were growing up being told that it was one hit to quit us. And the fear alone, why would you even try crack when y'all trying to tell me you might not even live to get hooked? Man, what is that?
Thanks. Let's get this in and out real quick.
Ski.
Have you ever been in a situation and needed to be a little bit of emotional but just couldn't seem to tap in? Possibly needed to back your way out of a lie and show them that you're telling the truth by crying? Well, have no fears. Cry No More is here, made from real baby tears. The organic, all-natural substance you'll take once a day, and it'll produce tears on the spot. It'll get those tear ducts flowing. May cause side effects including internal bleeding, diarrhea, hemorrhaging of the belly button, eyelash removal, hair removal, back fat removal, toes falling off, and also bad breath. Cry no more. Real organic tears. Never be stranded again.
Man, I don't serve a guy that just want me to brag about past testimonies. All this tribulation coming against me, better know I'm a double down. Allow me to introduce myself. I go by the name of that boy Psalms. CT in the building. You know what it is. It's about time for this. Yeah. Go ahead, look at my wrist. Yeah. Go throw it up, I can't miss. Yeah. Flowing with God for this. Come on. It's about time for this. Yeah. Go ahead, look at my wrist. Yeah. Go throw it up, I can't miss. Yeah. Flowing with God for this. Come on. It's about time for this. Yeah. Go ahead, look at my wrist. Yeah. Go throw it up, I can't miss. Yeah. Flowing with God for this. Come on. It's about time for this. Yeah. Go ahead, look at my wrist. Yeah. Go throw it up, I can't miss. Yeah. Flowing with God for this. Well, I'm tired of waiting, not been anticipating. I can hear them all instigating. Be quiet, Satan, that's right, no hesitating. I know about being complacent. That's right. Now it's your will I'm chasing. The foundation of my basement. No more time wasting. Here I'm standing adjacent. Holy Spirit got my placement. Facing that enemy, grabbing my saber. Get your weight up, I'm favored. On the ground, I hit the pay dirt. My path lay up by the maker. Forgiveness, any takers. I took a shirt, shots, no chasers. Breaking through the chambers, led by the savior. Savage behavior, hand tailored. I'm favored. That means that I'm major. That's why I gotta bust out the gate. Put my hood on the hover the brake. Help me discover the way from out the gutter display. Without further delay, I'ma obey so I don't fall prey. In a way, I'm gon' pass up the day. Tell her pass away, help me communicate. How the blood washes in away, renew clean slate. It's about time for this. Yeah. Go ahead, look at my wrist. Yeah. Gon' throw it up, I can't miss. Yeah. Flowing with God for this. Come on, it's about time for this. Yeah. Go ahead, look at my wrist. Yeah. Gon' throw it up, I can't miss. Yeah. Flowing with God for this. Come on.
Y'all know who that was. That was your boy Psalms on the track. Shout out to him. Got to speak up over there, my boy.
You know I'll be playing. Listen, so all jokes aside, so Storm Swiggy in the building. That's my baby bro, man. Much love to him. When the song was playing, I really was just thinking about how dope it is, but on the same token, if y'all really knew what we go through sometimes that produces those type of songs. And I'm fortunate and blessed that when everything is being put together in ideas and plans for songs, like I get included. What you think about this, bro? What is this? We're going to have him on the show, one episode, and we're going to talk about the journey from hell and back. As we just recently celebrated my niece's death anniversary, it made me really consider sometimes the shoes that we got to strap up and rock. And people will look at us, they will see the jokes and hear the laughter and the smiles, and oh my God, life is great. And like we often say, you don't realize that the laughter and the jokes and the smiles is really just things to make your eyes look that way or that way. So you'll stop trying to pierce into me to see, and hopefully you'll never recognize what I'm actually dealing with. So shout out the songs, man. Absolutely love you. Get ready to be on this show. That is going to be a barn burner, because if we can get people to really share this man soul and y'all can hear the things that we deal with, look, we're going to come after some stereotypes. But back to topic, bro. War on drugs.
So, when we talked about, you know what I'm saying, the drugs, how they've gotten into the country, man. So, I know another part of this topic was, you know, when kicking it turns deadly.
Yeah.
So let's run over that real quick, man, and I'll let you kick that off on, you know, like your thoughts and preventions, things of that nature.
Absolutely. So when does kicking it turn deadly? Whether teen, whether young adult, they're starting to get out, get a little bit of freedom. We need to be mindful of where they're going, who they with, what's popping. Don't ever think they're too grown to go through their phones. But now that they're over such as it's the weekend, they over their friend's house. When does kicking it turn into something else to where people are, oh, I do this, I do that? Are they linking up just to smoke and drink? Why do you have to be over their house so much? So the thought process around like when kicking it turns to something else is, when kids come to your house, how observant and mindful are you? Are you really aware of the things that they're doing as children or young adults, teenagers? Or is it just like, again, that mindset, they in the crib, they in my crib, it don't nothing break is good. The consequences of not being aware and not being mindful. That's more so what I want you to kind of focus on, bro. When kicking it can turn violent, even from we all knew we was gonna get hot. But everybody can't hold their weed or hold their liquor, or you know what I'm saying, that Whitney.
Yeah, big facts, man. So
Houston.
So when kicking it turns deadly, it's like there's a couple of different factors. I put myself on the front street. So when I was in Korea, it was my birthday. I think I was turning 20. I think I don't remember. Yeah, 2021, one of the two. Can't remember like that. But I do remember that my drink was E&J VSOP. And the age I was turning, I tried to take that many shots. And I think I maybe got into the double digits and like So when gaming turns deadly, man, it's like there's a few different ways that this can come about. Number one, that person trying to impress somebody. Look how much I can smoke. Look how much I can drink. Look how much I can sniff. Look how much I can shoot. But if they've been doing this for so long, which of course you don't know that when you see, he's putting it up his nose. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know, you know. But keep in mind that when you see somebody doing something, 9 times out of 10, if now they're showing this in public, this is not their first.
It's about time for this. Go ahead, look at my wrist.
They ain't got time for that. They out there getting it in.
Yeah.
They say it's about time for this.
So here's the thing. When they doing it open in public, some trying to impress, but some this is just what they do. They're pros. That means that if you finna jump in the mix, you need to know what you're getting yourself into. Because some people, you know what I'm saying? I know back when I was smoking, all weed wasn't good weed. You know, and you can't smoke everybody weed, and you can't smoke with everybody.
Some people ain't even aware where their weed would come from. And then also you said something, you got to know who you kicking it with, because some people is in the pro. And you know, me and you have been places before, and I said, I don't know about money, because I feel like money could have, you know what I'm saying, been on that Betty. You know what I'm saying? They might be under the impression, I mean, shoot, you up here with me. Don't you know what I do? I know you smoke weed. You don't know what I do. So when they pass the rock, they're not telling you it's lace, because in their mind, why you don't know? Everybody in here fly like that.
Yeah.
And here you is done took something thinking it is just that Mary Jane.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
It's that Mary Jane.
It's that Della Reese, you hear me? And you know how she got down in that alley. You know what I'm saying? Shorty played for keeps. Della played for keeps. So
big facts.
Man, like how do you do you feel like you would be more obligated to be more lenient to your child based on some actions that you previously have done? Like, gummies or weed or alcohol or whatever, like, yeah, I did this. So who am I to tell my child? Like, do you feel that there is some type of obligation to do something that you normally wouldn't on the strength of what you've already done? If that makes sense.
Not necessarily, man, because here's the thing. You gotta know your child too. Let me put that out there, because if you got a child that's already always out in the street, always gone, always with somebody, you know what I'm saying, hanging out with a whole bunch of people, I'm not going to encourage it. Because the thing is that if you're always going, I don't know half the people that you run with. Now, if you have a child that kind of stays in, they kind of stay to themselves, they're a leader. And y'all know what I'm talking about. We know some of our kids, they get in trouble in school for following, versus some kids get in trouble because they started it. Okay. But you also know your kid, man, versus who they are, like their work ethic, their grades in school, if they're still in school, how they get down. And if you start to see a change in them, like, my child didn't sleep until 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturdays, there's something else that's going on. Now it's time to have a deeper conversation. Look, I know that you do this, but we really need to have a talk. And people may not agree with me, and it's okay, because it's your house, your child, and you move how you want to move. But you have to know your child. If you know your child is wild, you may want to just pull them to the side, be like, hey, this right here, based on who you already are, this can send you in left field. So let me do this real quick, and I'm gonna get out your way. My soapbox today, man, is it's always be real with your child. I understand, they may not need to know everything, but again, parents are more in a do as I say and not as I do. So children are looking like, you're my example. You're my parent. If I see you drinking all the time and you still get up and go to work and pay the bills and stuff, why can't I? If I see you smoking all the time and you still get up and go to work and pay the bills, why can't I? You still cook, clean. Why is it so bad for me, but it works for you? So being that do as I do, you know what I'm saying, parent, and not necessarily as I say, because children are always going to want to know what you're keeping them from because daddy, mommy, it worked for you. It worked for
Mhm.
auntie. I know she do it too. Because kids know more than they
We
put on to know.
man, you ain't lying.
So honesty a lot, you know what I'm saying, as your child grows is a very good policy because what you think you're hiding from your kid, you're not. And now they are exploring behind your back, getting into way worse stuff because they know you're doing something
Yeah.
because you know what I'm saying, change of eyes, change, I ain't never seen mama eat snacks like this. Oh, daddy ate a whole bowl of cereal. They know something up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it like people,
You in my snacks now, daddy.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? But but the thing is that you reach one, you teach one.
Yeah.
The child that you have taught about drugs, they're going to teach a friend. They're going to say it to a friend, whether you believe it or not. But as you put that into them and you understand the child that you have and the adult that they are becoming, trust and believe what you tell them is going to stick with them, and what you did not tell them is going to stick also. And I'm Tony D, and I'm stepping down off this joint.
I like that. I like that. Look, I don't mean to intercept, but I'll say this real quick, and I ain't even gonna hold you, bro. When I opened up talking about China, America, how we sent everything to them, but more importantly, how they dealt with their drug problem. And the sheer fact that their entire country was 100% drug free, even though it was drastic measures. And I thought about what would it take for us to eradicate the problem of drugs in the United States. And I thought about all the legislations that can pass particular bills to do this. That ain't gonna get it. We can all talk to our kids, but out of 5, there's gonna be the 5th one that ain't talking to their kid and probably doing it with them. That ain't gonna get it. And I really asked myself, yo, like, so is what China did in hindsight really that bad? If it 100% cured, and keep in mind, I'm only gonna kill you if you don't stop slanging. Stop selling drugs. You good. So that's the ultimatum that you can do. I understand you hooked on drugs. I ain't gonna kill you. I'll throw you in jail, but I'll give you the chance and make you go to rehab. Now, can't make you stay in there. You keep trying to creep out, I'm gonna send you to jail. So when you take these steps and it really does the trick, what will it take to get our streets, our children back under the subjection of sobriety? And while a lot of us may be 420 friendly, and while I have seen the medicinal value, I have a very, very close person that is 100% lupus free for over a year now and has been off of the lupus meds. And the only medication that they take is marijuana for pain that they experience 24/7 that they no longer do. But when you think about what they're saying as it pertains to the psychedelics, and if anybody came on towards the end of the show and as you tapping into where we simulcast, go back and listen to that news clip where they're saying these things. Talk to your kids, not just about cigarettes and beer. Talk to them about drugs, because what is taking place It's taking our kids off the map. We have close family members that have lost their life due to overdose. There's people that I've met inside of my my profession, overdose. This is the reality, and there's so much more that we can talk about here local. We just had somebody last week. He was dragging a baby stroller face down the street, dragging the baby, bro, in a stroller, face first on the concrete. Didn't realize he was doing it because he was hot on K2. These schools is getting locked down. So talk to your kids, man. Talk to them about drugs. Don't worry about what you did in your life. You could have been on cocaine. That does not mean that you give the nod to your child because, I mean, I did it. What can I say? You say, don't be like me, be better. You say, be better. If you drive down the street and you hit a pothole that rips your tires off and your wife is coming down the same street 10 minutes behind, are you not going to say, hey, babe, but you're going to say something? Why? Because you know the danger. So I don't care. Apply the same technique, right? Tell people about the dangers. Keep it a book. Sometimes if you got to have that do as I say, not as I do mindset, but teach them better than you learn and tell them the why. You know what I'm saying? I'm on that sugar booger. Don't get here. So don't do it. Whatever you got to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't tell them the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's funny, bro, but it's the reality. You know what I'm saying? Tell them, don't do these shrooms because every day you're just going to be doing the bankhead bounce and saying, dum, dum, did that out of nowhere for no reason, right? And you sleeping with one eye open. Not because you're nervous and looking over your shoulder for the ops, but because you done got that Bobby and Whitney and it's in your body like, nah, it's on you.
Paranoid.
I'm D to the J. Tell your kids stay off that stuff. If they want to be on something, be on the Life Be Life and podcast show, tapping in there Wednesday like they mama done told them to. Yo ho, still in the building, act like you know. Bye.
Lifers, hey, once again, we appreciate you because you know life. Go keep on lifing, and we're going to be here to talk about it. I'm your host, Tony D.
And I'm your host, D to the J. You see that right there? Still in the building like I ain't never left. I'm just fading to black.
Like Be Life and Podcast, we gon' be here to talk about it. Yeah. With your host, Tony D and D to the J. With your host, Tony D and D to the J.